Nothing to formally announce tonight. Very active conversations that have been going well, and I've said it before, but I believe that we're pretty darn close. So you'll be given information when the time's right. 5-year plan. Ryan, I'll let you take this one away. I've talked enough this meeting.
We made some significant progress on the capacitor bank installation at the substation. A lot of conduit work. It was a little difficult undermining the existing conduits. There's just a spider web of conduits under that sub to get the new ones out for the capacitor bank. That is done. We actually were able to pour the cement on the foundation yesterday. So that's setting up right now, and next week we'll be able to set the capacitor bank on there, or string some wire through the conduit, and after that we'll be just waiting for GRP to come and do all of their programming and get them online.
Why don't you just give them a quick update with the Shell Station 2, and did some work in conjunction.
There's a lot of underground work going on around the Shell Station to help with the removal of all of the overhead lines that are going along Broadway. We have to be able to feed the Shell Station with some underground source instead of the overhead feed that's right by the car charging station right now in that parking lot area. We have got permission from King Milling to use their property to bury some conduit along from Hudson along the back side of the Shell Station. We're actually getting an easement drawn up for King Milling so that they'll allow us to do that. Got a fair amount of that done this week. Got the pad poured for the transformer that's going to feed Shell. Just a little bit more digging and we'll have all that conduit work done. Get the wire installed, be able to convert them over to underground. That's one more pole that can be removed over there.
So when you say digging, have you gotten your mini excavator yet?
Nope, we're still waiting for that. They said mid-month,
Okay.
expecting it anytime. Haven't heard anything from them this week yet, but they said as soon as it came in from Kubota, they would be getting a hold of us. But no, we've been using the old machine still. It's still doing fine, but yeah, we're hoping that we would have had it for all this digging, because they've been digging a lot over there. But it's all going good. Things are moving along really nice.
And we're hoping here in the next the summer concert series, the overhead crossing over the river. Comcast has given their commitment, and so is the school. So we had thought they were going to start this week. Just haven't seen them.
Yeah, they haven't moved on site this week. Should be any time. They called in their locate request for their underground work, which are darn near ready to expire. So we were thinking they were going to be in here any time, but it'll get done. They'll plan.
Has Baker Benton approached us about doing any electrical work for their new facility that they're going to be, because they're going to wipe the old buildings out, put a brand new building in?
Not that I know of. Ryan? Mark?
No, nothing that we've heard.
It's good to know.
And, well, as you say that, so are we supplying power to the new Impact Church?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because I see they're starting to grade today,
Yep.
or this week.
Definitely.
We've been in contact with some electrical engineers that are doing the work for that building to verify that we could handle the load of the building, and we confirmed that we should be able to handle that pretty good because it's within seeing distance of the substation, so shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, no problem.
Other than that, we spent a lot of time tree trimming south of town and fairly close to being complete with trimming along Circuit 207, so that's a great accomplishment. Last month, I sent the board an update regarding the Blink outages. It was a pretty lengthy, detailed email, but I think the situation merited that. I don't want to rehash everything. If everyone feels comfortable with what I wrote, I know I've talked with 3 of you at length about this. There were a number of pieces of equipment. We had squirrel guards, but more squirrel guards, flashing mounts for the arresters on the sides of the transformers that didn't have them. Ryan told me that we were waiting until everything came in until we start the work. It would be stupid to do 2/3 of the work and then have to go back. So we do anticipate that will be another major project.
one location where the squirrel did cause a blink on 208 has been completely dismantled. We definitely were able to view where the squirrel shorted himself out. Yeah, yeah. So that one has been taken care of completely. That'll never happen again at that structure, but there's other areas that need attention.
Did you
So
say
anyway.
culvert to cause that?
I did say it.
I attach it to the email.
Yeah.
So anyway, just know that we take it very seriously and we're gonna do whatever we can to correct the problem going forward. And if anybody wants to talk further about that, you can talk online, or Ryan and Mark and their team is really gonna get out the program and the details of that, so. Long-term natural gas supply, I got a formal update from Consumers Energy. I think everybody knows they were doing a larger project in the Caledonia Freeport area that would allow this project in Lowell to happen. And both are projected to be complete by the end of November, so a month earlier than they had initially committed. They said by the end of December, so now it's looking like the end of November. So the project here, as you can see, will start mid-July. So for the next couple months, they might not do anything. I can say they had somebody out here looking at this green building. I saw them shaving something off of it. I had to run, but I asked Ryan to go talk with them. That gentleman confirmed with Ryan the green building will be coming down. So maybe the payment for the regulator station is worth getting rid of that green building alone, because that's an eyesore.
Scraping it?
They were testing for
Sort of lead?
asbestos and lead or
Let it
whatever.
all that,
Yeah, for environmental. So that building will be gone. Solar, performance services, they're still working, but the MPPA conversations with their vendors have sped up to the point that they're gonna be executing agreements with their vendors in the next 30 to 60 days. And frankly, as I stated in the manager's report, we are going to have to say no to one and yes to the other, because we're gonna be overhedged if we go with both. And why I say we're overhedged, we have a quarterly energy report that the MPPA gives us with risk policies and hedge policies, and we'd be significantly overhedged if we went with both. So Ryan and I had a meeting with Performance Services last week, and we gave them till April 25th to get us back answers and information to the questions that I included in your packet. I asked for a lot of detail. They showed us numbers that I'm just not gonna say right now. I've had another solar vendor contacting me that would like to do something in Lowell, and I don't wanna, if he can beat their price, that'd be great. I don't wanna tell this vendor what this other vendor's proposing. But ultimately, we need to know by the end of the month. I'd love to do something here. The MPPA and probably people that are wiser than me that I look up to, they're just skeptical that they can ultimately deliver at the price they promised. That's why I've asked for so much information, because I want to know that if we say no to the MPPA, there is a high likelihood of success for this project at the price point we want it to come in at. Does that make sense? Anybody can promise a price, and they've showed us some numbers and everything lines up, but until we get answers for the likelihood of success for this project at a certain price, I'm not gonna feel comfortable saying no to the MPPA. So, I don't know if I'm saying this for peace of mind or asking for the board's blessing on that, but I don't think we need to take action on this, but is everybody okay with my plan ultimately?
Yes, I guess
Definitely.
my main question is, what's the overhead part of it? Is there,
What's that?
you said we'd be overhedged, is that,
We'd be committing to way too many kilowatt hours.
okay, that's, so
Yeah,
it's not just
maybe-
overhedged of solar or renewable or anything like that,
No.
it's just too much, we don't need that much power.
Right, I mean, you always want to have some energy purchased off the market. If there were to be a downturn or a business were to go away,
Yeah,
you don't want to be contracted to pay for all this energy, and you don't know what future technologies are going to come out. Batteries, other types of generation, who knows what the future will look like. You don't want to buy What?
Just kidding.
Yeah. I don't think so, but basically you just don't wanna have 100% of your energy. It's okay to buy some of your power off the market.
Yep.
So that's what I meant by overhead.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that's what,
I don't wanna, I mean, I think the board really the MPPA agrees, if this project could go forward at this price point, it's a no-brainer. But to not end up with solar from either
mhm,
would be bad, I believe, because it's in the money here and in the money at the MPPA. And the MPPA wouldn't contract with one, do a PPA with just us. You see what I'm saying? We're doing it 90 megawatt projects with multiple munis,
mhm.
and we're each taking a portion of that project. So they walked away with a clear understanding, and he knew what he had to get, otherwise we were gonna terminate the LOI.
When do we, what month was it that we authorized the LOI?
January,
Was it January?
it was
Oh,
January, January 11th, I wanna say.
Has there been much progress?
They've met, they have contracted with Prime Newhoff, they've done environmentals, they've met with Ryan, they've been on site. They have panels for the actual project meeting, or they could use them somewhere else.
Sure.
They have a lot of things firmed up.
Do they have the land?
The land and the excavating, they've been in negotiations for like 60 days. Still nothing's been finalized. They keep, I mean, everybody knows who owns it, Grand Rapids Gravel. They keep changing the acreage that they want to sell to them because they have additional, what?
PSI or Grand Rapids Gravel? I mean, Performance Services or?
Grand Rapids Gravel.
And
The ones that-
Yeah, exactly, Dicom's, they're saying, oh, well, we actually wanna do this with this portion of the land in the future, so you need to be over here. But then it changes the slope of where the panels will be and potential excavating costs. Is it gonna be in the flood zone,
And
all things.
Well, this is probably the right direction then to, get them to either make a commitment or don't.
Right, and it was, when you say around, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, oh yeah, very clear.
And Grand Rapids Gravel has committed, for the trail system to go through their property in theory, but not, I don't know if it's, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole lot of parts that are going into that property.
I know it. So, ultimately, I think this is what's best for Light and Power. I know we'd love to see it here, but this kind of forces Performance Services hand, and solar is much different than a biodigester, but I'd like us to unearth every question and get every answer, even if that means having to say goodbye to PSI. It's better just to get the answers now and not end up with a failed project later, so. Anyway, that's where we stand there. Standby policy, at the time I wrote this, Ryan was supposed to be on the east side of the state, and until 9 AM this morning, I thought he was going to be. So, I had written that I was going to recommend no action today in regards to the standby policy unless there was a consensus by the board to remain at status quo. The entire board and Ryan are all here, so I'll leave it up to Perry to decide how you want to proceed with this.
So we can proceed. I'll just give my view to the rest of the board is, I think we stay with what we currently had. It's served us well over, the only thing that I would recommend is that we, in our language, put what, I don't know, what I want, not credited, but somebody, like Google, MapQuest, or whatever, I believe we need to put some kind of, that 30-minute, that says you're 30 minutes away from here, whatever. And the reason why I say that is I don't want somebody all of a sudden that they're a little bit further, and if they drive 80 miles an hour, they can get here in the 30 minutes. I mean, it's kind of like the Domino's, the pizza, there, 10 minutes or less, and they got into situations where the drivers hit somebody and killed them, and big liability and everything. So I say that my opinion is we stay with the 30-minute, that to be within 30 minutes. But I think that we need to It just says you have to be within 30 minutes, and I think we need to have some kind of third party that says, okay, this location, from this location to Chatham Street is under 30 minutes. I mean, that's my, again, I'm just giving my opinion. And it's open up to the rest. From looking at the previous, I mean, we're in the average, there's only a few people, and we're above average in what we're compensating. And, you know, if we extend it, you know, the flip side of it is, why would we extend it and still be, for me, and be in the top tier of compensation? So I think it's served us well, and I think it should stay the it is. And that's my opinion, so I'll open it up to the rest of the board.
I guess I don't see a need for the map aspect. I guess the question is, what happens at 30 minutes, right? Is that,
If they come in at 32.
yeah, because I mean, I kind of see it as, it says here that shall forfeit their pay for that day if they're 30 minutes late, and I would even say maybe we change that to say may forfeit, so that if it's a repeated thing where they're always 5 minutes after 30 minutes, it's like, come on, you can do that a little better, but if it's once in a while, it's not gonna be a big impact, I mean. And I guess that was where we were talking last time about, do we know what our average response time really is? Well, okay.
Personally, for staff, I do believe that tying that 30 minutes to an accredited third-party source would be very valuable. It gets very tricky when someone asks, can I buy a house here? Which we've been asked now twice by an employee. And what if their house, according to Google, says 32, but they say, well, I can make it in 27 because I'm gonna speed. Should we even put them on the standby list to begin then? Knowing they can make it if they speed, but is it responsible for us to do that? Because the policy just says that we only care if they can make it at 30. Do we even want to encourage that risk?
Well, I think even now there's the risk, because somebody who lives 10 minutes away could,
Yeah,
You know,
but Google
be
is
less
saying safely they can make it to Chatham based on traffic and roads and speeds.
but based on what time of day, I mean.
Yeah, but we're in Wall, I mean, it's not like we have heavy traffic outside of business hours.
Right. Well, I mean, the freeway is always busy at business hours. I know whenever I look at my Google map, it's got a difference time if I'm coming home at rush hour, even though there's hardly any traffic, but it will change by a couple minutes.
We just did that at our shop, for our trucks, and we let the Google map do it. And it it actually broke it out into different things, low traffic, medium traffic, and heavy traffic. And our company went with the heavy traffic numbers because it was easier to translate for all the big trucks to move around.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how much information you get back out of that.
Oh, yeah, they got tons of information. But I mean, I don't know, I guess if people want to do that map, I mean, it's not a bad thing to do, I just don't think it's really necessary, because it's one more arbitrary thing we apply to this, I mean, I think.
I actually see it as pretty objective. If somebody that's living 38 minutes outside of town, how should Ryan or I say yes or no to putting him on standby? If he proves he can make it here under 30. But Google, the most accredited traffic flow map, says it's 38.
But how did he do that? Did he do that by hanging around in town?
Yeah, that's the other question, I mean, are
Does he have
you
another-
actually tying your employees to their home when they're on standby? What if somebody lives in town and says, you know, I wanna,
They have to be at Chatham within 30.
exactly, that's the policy. I think that we should expect that our employees are responsible enough to follow that policy. You might add something like not just forfeit the standby, pay for the standby period, but to be removed from standby altogether.
That's in there.
Is it in there? Missed that.
And I think it's already in.
Yeah, I don't know if
Forfeit the standby pay.
I don't know if I
Saying-
copied the whole policy in here.
Okay.
One policy was in there.
It was in there? Okay. So if that's like a one-time deal, if you miss it once, you're out of the rotation?
I don't remember if it was a one-time deal.
No,
I think it was, I don't
I
remember.
Well,
believe
it
it was
says
the
check.
discretion of
Right.
Ryan.
we'd have to pull up, because I just copied and pasted a small portion of the entire policy in this memo.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We'd have to, if we have internet, we could go on our website and look. You see what I mean, Megan?
Good.
If you can find it.
So, I mean, besides redefining that, that's a whole nother, but let's consider that a separate issue. Is the rest of the board comfortable with the 30 minutes, or are you thinking that you wanna change that at all?
I mean, until we see more, I mean, I'd still like to see like what's our average response time anyway, because, I mean, from the last discussion, my big thing is, well, what's the impact of changing that? You know,
Outage time.
it's just basically outage time, you know, how long does it take? But I mean, I think the other part was how often do you need a second person to be taking care of an outage, or, I guess we said a lot of them were like after hours reactivating power because they made payments or things like that, but I guess I'd kinda like to know, I mean, what's our typical response time? I'm guessing it's probably like 20 to 30 minutes or something like that. You know, but,
Response time would be, how long does it take you to get to work from where you live?
15.
And then Rich is probably to 10 to 15 minutes out at Murray Lake, so you could, it's 20 minutes or less most times.
yeah, and I guess that's part of it, is that we have this requirement of 30 or less, but if we're typically always 20, and then we say, well, let's move it out to 45 for someone, then it's gonna really affect the average. I mean, our customers have come to expect a nice response time, that don't wanna kind of change it on them, or sometimes, hey, their response is really great, other times it's not, and
To be the devil's advocate, if you change it off the 30 and you make it 35. Next year, somebody goes, well, I live 37 minutes, so let's move it to 40. You're constantly gonna be chasing.
Yeah.
When the 30 minutes has worked extremely well for this company for a long track period. And I think everybody that worked here understands that the 30-minute has always been here, and in my opinion, should stay here, because it's worked so well. If you start tweaking it, you're never gonna be able to hold it still.
Yeah.
It'll just tweak and run away.
Mhm.
And that, the next thing you know, you're gonna be, well, you can be an hour away.
Well, again, that's why we have to define what the impact is that we're looking for. You know, because an hour to me doesn't seem like that would be acceptable, but again, what are we trying to drive? I mean, I think the main thing is just getting the power back as soon as we can. Because granted, power outages aren't that long, but if somebody's having a party, an Oscar party or something, and power goes out, 15 minutes makes a big deal to them. You know, they got a bunch of people over and they're missing to see who won the best supporting actor. I don't know, whatever, I'm just thinking of the customers that, to them, that's a real pain, even though it's just 15 minutes, but those kind of things can be a big deal, even though most of the time it's not gonna be that big, but that's the kind of stuff why we're trying to be reliable, so people can kind of count on this and not have to worry that major things are gonna be interrupted.
Yeah, in today's age, any interruption in power is an inconvenience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's just, it's the end of the world when the power goes out for most people.
Mm-hmm.
For that reason, I don't favor changing from 30 minutes at all. But I also don't think that we need to, as a policy, governing board here, whatever, we don't need to define where they can live. That's up to management. So if you have a 30-minute policy and the employee that decides to move 45 minutes away, this is his first one, management gets the option to make a decision at that point. Well, you're on the rotation.
Or they could even decide not to put them in the rotation, or things they just don't see how it's even feasible.
That is true.
I mean, if they were to
Management will
have-
discretion if it doesn't spell it out either way.
Right, I mean, if they had like if they had a different home or apartment or whatever, cottage that happened to be within that 30 minutes, and they plan to stay there during when they're on call, you know, why not?
Didn't,
Not-
town stay here?
Well, that was for the extreme
Yeah,
weather
that was
thing.
for the extreme stuff, yeah. Thomas is
Civil
dedicated.
subject now.
It did.
Mattress right here,
Yeah.
so,
There's,
yeah, and I'm not seeing anything in there where it says we can take them out, but I thought it, and this must be misremembering.
This is just the, like, compensation part, is there another policy that it would be under?
Or could be, we'd have to look.
that's actually a good point, this almost just seems to say that you get paid this if you're here on time, but it doesn't say you shall be here on time. So, it's just saying you don't get paid if you don't get here on time. I guess really my main concern with this is just that, the issue of what happens at 30 minutes. Because if somebody, for some reason, there's traffic, or they're slow, or, you know, their kids got in a big fight right when they were trying to walk out the door and they had to deal with it. And all of a sudden they come in here, they come in here 3 minutes late, do we have to not pay them because of the policy, or do we have the discretion to say, you made it here on time, that's good enough? You typically are here in 20 minutes, that's one time, we're not gonna pull it over, but if somebody's like shows a pattern of repeatedly getting here 3 minutes late after the 30, it's like, I don't think you can do this anymore. I mean, and that's what I'd like to see, is something so that somebody's not concerned that, oh no, I'm gonna miss my 30, and they start racing here. Or trying to
I
beat
do
deadlines
think
or
it's
things
pretty
like that.
clear though, if an employee on standby fails to respond and report within the required time periods, he/she shall forfeit their standby pay for that standby period and may receive disciplinary action.
Yeah.
Right,
So it is pretty clear, I think, in
And
regards to
at
their
that point,
pay.
it's up to management's
I
decision.
mean, yeah, we
And that's
could,
where it
it's
belongs.
31, we could use our discretion.
well, I just wanna make sure that that is possible, it's right here, just saying, he shall forfeit their pay, well, I don't necessarily know that we shall, you know, as soon as it's 30 minutes and 3 seconds, that your pay's gone. You know, that's how the policy reads, if somebody wants to be a stickler, and I just wanna make sure we might say that they may forfeit their pay and receive other disciplinary action at the discretion of the manager, you know, so maybe it's just something like that, so that employees know that if they do show up 5 minutes late on once in a blue moon, you know, for some circumstance that they can explain, then it's not gonna cost them their pay. You know, again, my main concern is just I don't want somebody trying to blow through a yellow light, thinking, oh, I gotta get here, if I don't make this light, I'll be a minute late, and then they get in a car accident. So,
But that's what you risk if you keep moving that number up.
not moving the number, it's just the discretion of, same thing, we can't miss a meeting, but we can excuse board member absences, because the reason why that's in there is because if somebody is repeatedly missing meetings and just not taking their responsibility seriously, we can stop paying them or do something about it, but I just don't want a policy that's automatic like that, where somebody would then feel the need to beat the clock.
I think the way to get around that is to simply append at management's discretion to the policy.
I would agree.
Yeah, I think that's good
And that's
enough.
probably what happens anyway.
Yeah,
If
I don't
somebody
even know if
shows
anyone's
up,
been.
you know, 31 minutes, Steve has to make a call, or
Yeah.
Ryan has to make a call on.
Yeah, in that
okay, what was-
situation, we would use discretion, it just doesn't
Yeah.
happen to say it.
Yep.
But if you feel more comfortable at saying that, that could be
Yeah,
more action.
and I think honestly, you probably both tell the guys, don't risk your life to get here.
Yeah,
The
Right.
majority, as infrequent as the outages are,
Right.
most times, the majority of us are already, hey, oh, there's a lot of meters, I mean, we're getting emails like crazy coming in. More than just the on-call guy is, hey, the Steve Shade over there, that's just our low guy, he's already calling Mark or Rich, you want me to come in and help you out? It looks like there's a lot of
Yeah.
outages, so there's a whole lot of thought going into it, so I don't think it's a problem at all. These guys, I mean, they'd have to have something, trees blocking every road on the way to their house before they would be late. And they're not gonna drive out of control crazy to get here either, cause they live in the community themselves.
Okay, which as long as that's understood, I think that's my main concern.
That is, I would say that is understood, but ultimately, I think, yeah, the whole issue was the time, 30
Yeah.
minutes, and that was the whole reason we brought this to you. Wanted to just get board clarity, if we wanna reaffirm that, or,
Tina, you got any thoughts?
Everybody knows that comes to work for Low Light and Power that does that job. If they wanna be on that list, you better be here in 30 minutes or less. Very clear right off the bat, wasn't it?
it's very clear.
Okay. Then my stance is, if you buy a house by Google that says it's gonna take you longer, then you're off that list. You just, I don't mean to be a stickler, but that was the rules.
Right.
Let's stick with it.
I don't think we have to even use Google, it's just that the manager says, you know what, you're not gonna be able to make it here consistently at 30 minutes,
Okay.
because according to the map, you're this far away, and it's, or because you're trying to maintain a second job during that time, I don't think you can be here at time.
If the
And I've had
manager
whatever
has,
the reason
if the-
that
if
he
the
thinks he
kid-
can't do
If
it.
somebody goes in and says, well, I can make it earlier, I just printed this, Google says, where you
Yeah.
live, this is it.
Mhm.
Done deal. That's your backup, but like I said, this was known. Simple as that.
I'm fine with the discretion of the management determining that. I just didn't wanna get in a situation, and the reason why I said to have some kind of definitive was because I didn't want somebody racing to get here and saying, oh, I can get here, but if you leave it up to the discretion of the, and again, I guess I was, with that, I was trying to take that, instead of having an arbitrary Ryan, Steve, Mark going, no, you can't, or anything, I was just trying to have some kind of fixed, and that's why I was suggesting the Google thing, or MapsQuest, or whatever. And that was the only reason why, but we pay them the big bucks to make those decisions, so they can live with those decisions.
Okay.
I agree.
But,
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
so,
It does make
so consensus are, we're not making any changes to the policy, and it's staying at 30 minutes, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, thank you.
Hours of operation.
Yep, I got it.
Oh, you got, what, you don't have it right there?
Oh, I was down on the,
Oh, yeah.
here we go, hours of operation. At our May board meeting, we will be discussing, I just wanna give everyone a heads up, the potential change for Low Light and Power's hours of operation. Mike Burns brought this topic to the city council on April 16th. His proposal was to change the outside staff, the DPW, to 4 10-hour days, from early June to early October. And on that same June start date, change the office staff schedule to start at 7:30 and go till 5, Monday through Thursday. And then 8 to noon on Friday,
With and change into a half-hour
half-hour
lunch,
lunch.
which gets their 4
So they get their full
hours.
40. Ultimately, the topic was tabled until the next council meeting, so I will know more. However, after thinking about it, I'm very torn. It would be confusing for the city to change their office hours and for Light and Power not to follow suit. You can pay your
Right.
water bill here, you can pay your electric bill here, and vice versa.
Mhm.
Be confusing. However, I'm gonna talk with Mike, and I'm gonna hopefully, I haven't even told Marty this, hopefully convince him just to stick with 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I say that for multiple reasons. First, due date can fall on a Friday, and it does, I think, twice this coming summer, so what do you do on due date? Opening at 7:30 helps maybe a little, the people that work 8 to 5, but the people that can't make it here between 8 and 5 are likely working in Grand Rapids or Lansing. So opening at 7:30 doesn't accomplish a whole lot, I don't think. You see what I mean? I also think with shut-offs, it makes it hard for us to administer shut-offs And then what happens if you have a holiday week? So ultimately, you have all these weeks during the year where maybe you don't have that 7:30 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and 8 to noon, Friday. And your customer base could be very confused. And to try to publish schedules, it just could be more of a nuisance. We're pretty flexible here. Most people, if you look at our schedule for the summer, we'll have 2 or 3 people off, at least a half day or a whole day on Friday. I've told our staff many times, if people want to work through lunches or come in a little bit early and they have things of productivity to do, and they want to take off early on a Friday without taking PTO, it's completely fine by me.
Wow, that's great.
Isn't that true?
That
Give me
is
some-
great.
Yes,
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I told you.
And it's,
years
I'm
ago,
not just saying that, I mean, that's
But
That's what we
great.
offer, that flexibility already. So, that's just my opinion, I'm gonna talk with Mike about it. I am going to recommend though, and I've already talked with the entire IBEW bargaining unit, to go to 4 10-hour days during the summer months. In the past, there was concern about summer heat and working too long. This current group doesn't have any of those fears, that's not a concern of theirs. And it really is a positive thing. We're not gonna save dollars necessarily, we're gonna be paying the same payroll costs. We are gonna be more productive though. Site mobilization time, truck inspections, tear down time, that'll take, when you add it all up, 45 minutes
Yep.
per guy per day. You have 6 guys out there, that's what, 2 hours and 15 minutes for 3 guys, that's 4.5 hours a week. Times for the whole summer, and right now we give 2 15-minute breaks per day. 2.5 hours worth of breaks a week, that's cut down to 2 hours of breaks. So that's another half an hour per guy, so that's another 3 hours of productivity we're gaining. So from that standpoint, I think it's a wise move for us to do this while there's daylight in the mornings, where we'd start 6:30 and run till 5 with a half an hour lunch and 2 15-minute breaks, and the guys are on board. On the weeks we would have shut-offs fall on a Friday, or shut-offs fall on a Friday, we would change our schedule Tuesday through Friday, and they would know about that well in advance, that their 4 10-hour days wouldn't be Monday through Thursday, it'd be Tuesday through Friday. And then if we have a holiday week, which occurs twice, July 4th and Labor Day week, those 4 days that are non-holidays, they would just work 8-hour days. So two weeks during this time period. So we have buy-in from the bargaining unit. That is something that I'm meeting with Phil Barnett, the union representative, and Rich Mutchler, the union steward, to get that memorandum of understanding squared away, but that will be a slight change to the contract that I'm gonna be recommending in May. But we'll see how the office staff hours shakes out. Do any of you have any opinions about the office staff hours that I could relay to Mike?
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, I've already relayed it to, I've talked to several of the council members. Lowell, the only thing that, I mean, we provide a product called electricity, but it's basically a service. And same thing with the city, it's a service organization. And to reduce your amount of hours to the public, the linemen and the DPW, I understand that. But for people that have direct contact with this organization or the city, to reduce your amount of hours, and that's what I feel what the city's doing. And so what I'm saying is, I could not, if the city goes that way, I could not, my opinion would be that we wouldn't change. I would not go, because I believe that you're cutting back services. And I know I've talked about it, we need to embrace change, but you go back and think of the things, again, lifetime resident here, you know, at one time we had our own dump, we had our own garbage collection, we had things that the city could come, on the first Thursday of the month, you could put anything out by the curb, and they would come and pick it up. That went away. Then you could, at one time, have the city truck get on a list, have that parked in your driveway at night, fill it it up, they'd go and haul it away and then use it during the day. That went away. Then we had, our own garbage service, that went away. We had recycles, that went away. And these services keep going away, but our taxes do not, and they're never free. They were in our taxes, but again, I just philosophically, I have a problem with it. I've said that I could live with maybe being closed on a Friday, but I would look at, what about being open 2 hours on a Wednesday evening till 7 o'clock to make up those hours or whatever. I cannot see reducing our service to the general public and closing our office or closing City Hall on Friday. That's what we're doing. So you can relay that, or they can watch the film. And that's my opinion.
I agree with Barry.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. It's like part of our job is to be accessible to the public. You know, certain roles that need that, so.
I came to that conclusion just thinking about it since that meeting. I know Megan and Sharon probably would love to be off on Friday, but I think they understand. Going into the job, we all knew that our hours were, and this is what's expected, so. People have the PTO and we have the flexibility here.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody's able to take off time on Fridays. I don't think
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Even where I work, people have talked about it'd be nice if we had someone in the industry have a compressed work schedule where you work every other Friday off, and then you work 45-hour weeks or 9-hour days basically, and every other Friday's off, and which would be nice. But then there's like, well, if the customer's not working that schedule and they've got a question on Friday, they've got to wait till Monday, and
Right.
it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I'd like to have every Friday off, but
The being closer on Friday, the first thought was, my wife, before I met her, she was a single mom, lived in the city, and money was really tight for her. And for days where her bill was due on Friday, I guarantee you she was coming down here on her own, putting an envelope across the counter after work, and she wouldn't get out of work until 3:30. And if this place was closed on a Friday afternoon like that, someone like her in her position would go 3 days, wonder what the heck's gonna happen, not able to pay the bill, it'd just be an extra headache. And, so I completely agree with what you're saying, it would reduce the service, and I can think of a very tangible example of, if that was my wife 8 years ago, before I knew her, she would be disserviced.
And Mike, at this council meeting, they talked about different things of, if things were due on a Friday and it was closed, then they'd extend it till Monday at the close of business and everything, and it's just, all of a sudden it was creating all these exceptions, and so nobody could, well, is this that day or is that day, and again, I think our office, we're a service organization, the city and Light Power, and we need to be open from 8 to 5, 5 days a week. That's my opinion. And if the city goes different, I would have a hard time, voting to have Light and Power.
Well, at this point, I actually wouldn't recommend it, but I don't know their operations, and
Right,
he's in charge of his schedule, and I'm just gonna relay him what Light and Power feels about what our schedule's going to be, so he just knows what the board will do, even if they change their schedule. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
I don't think, try to direct him to do one way or the other, that's his call.
yeah, that's him and his council. I guess one question I had is if the lineman were to change to a 4-day week, does that change the off-hours service thing that we talked about earlier, that the rate that, if they're only working 4 days a week, does that mean now if people want work done on a Friday, they have to pay the off-hours service fee or whatever that?
Typically, yes, I would say they would. However, we just talked about these other services, and we have them listed, but don't get the impression that happens all the time. In the vast majority of the time, I don't wanna speak for you, Ryan, but we coordinate things to the best of the customer's availability where it's not gonna cost them really anything. Would you agree?
That's right.
So,
I just wanna make sure that they're not suddenly seeing their opportunity for getting normal rate decreasing by 20% all of a sudden,
understood,
so,
understood.
but if they can get their work done
The one thing
during the week ahead of time anyway, because there's more
And
time
the
to
one
work
thing
on
we
this.
have talked about, and I talked with Ron, and Overbeek, who has a lot of the service type of work, mistakes, miscellaneous type stuff for the customer service staff, if he works 4 nines and 4 hours on Friday to take care of anything that might come up. So we haven't finalized that component of it yet. This is, I'm really thinking of a lineman
Mhm.
type group, but he's in the bargaining unit. So that's the one component we have to figure out, because he brought
Okay.
that to my attention. But
Good
ultimately,
point, yeah.
I'm gonna try to direct the office staff, and Julie and Megan probably don't know this yet, to organize the work for the line staff as best as possible. We're very good at just responding quickly, but if we can prioritize and organize things so that they have an idea of when things are gonna happen, so we don't have to have things happen on a Friday
Mhm.
necessarily, see what I mean?
I guess I don't understand, so is the city looking at like having everybody off on Friday?
Their office
And so
staff
that
would
the
work
lights
8 to
aren't
noon.
Going, or, okay, so just shortening up Friday. I thought that they left, I thought they, closed up shop at noon on Friday.
Nope.
Nope.
My dad did that for years.
The city of Wyoming, they're not open on Fridays.
They're not? Okay, all right. Well, because I know that I'm on 14-hour days. The reason why I'm on that is because right now I've got a lot of projects that are lined up this time of the year. Having a 10-hour day, I'll tell you what, there's times I still walk out of there thinking, if I really wish I had another hour, because I could have really wrapped up something. But the great thing about it is, there's somebody at Blue Cross Blue Shield Monday through Friday. So when I walk out of there, I've already got my folder, put my lock box, and a person that walks in that she knows that it's already handed off to her. So there's somebody there. I didn't realize that this was a closed down. Wow, I don't know. How's your staff feel about it? You gotta keep your staff happy.
100% agree. I wanted to wait to see what the city ultimately did before engaging the office staff, but I don't even know if no offense Sharon and Megan, but I think I'm gonna make an executive decision that this is the best for Light and Power to stick over 85,
Well, I
and I
think
think.
our customers expect to call and get one of us. I
Right.
mean, they don't wanna get the answering machine at Friday at noon. You know, they expect to be able to talk to
And we have the
somebody.
PTO, that's what I kinda said at the beginning, we have the PTO and flexibility that I think this staff will be okay with it.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Nothing new with the cyber audit, active shooter seminar, Barons Hendricks and Stite, held an active shooter seminar at, Meyer Gardens a couple weeks ago. Ryan, Ron, Julie, Mike Burns, Rachel, and Bob Martin and I attended. It was very good. Jason Russell, former Secret Service agent who protected presidents, was there and did the presentation. It's unfortunate that we have this, but ultimately, Ron Van Overbeek is going to be just giving the Light and Power staff a safety presentation about this and key tips and what we can do. And we are limited on resources, but there are things that if you're just aware and you've thought about things ahead of time, it can make a big difference. So just want to let the board know that just something that Ron has in place just to keep going with our safety program. Mike Burns had a department head training session with Dr. Lou Bender in March. Although I don't report to Mike, he included me, and it was a great afternoon, very good team building. It's always good to interact with the other leaders of the city, and ultimately, what we were encouraged and tasked to do is to really look at big, long-term, I know the past council don't like the word strategic planning, but strategic type of objectives to advance Lowell and the community and the organizations forward. Basically, his thought process is, you have a council on board, but they're part-time and they have their own jobs. They've hired these key leaders in the city to bring forward and carry out large-term strategic objectives, and I think Mike's gonna do a great job rounding us about and having more of those type of meetings of how we can go forward doing that. So it was a good meeting. the expo. Sharon and I, and Marty, manned the booth. It was actually very busy.
Gary on the bike.
Perry was on the bike, Mike Burns got on the bike, I got on the bike. And we had, Andrew got on the bike,
And Andrew
Oh,
got
yeah,
all the
he
lights.
is.
I could only
Yeah.
get
Made our Facebook
5 the
page.
first time, then 6 the next time, but
yep,
Yeah, Steve was telling me he was a little worried, but.
having the big heart attack.
we were surprised, I bet we had 40-ish
We had
customers come by.
48 customers,
48.
because we had people sign up, and we had, I think, 9 customers that thought they might be our customers that lived in Rockford and other communities.
We had some people that just wanted to win prizes, so they just
So,
signed up, and Sharon deleted them from the drawing, so.
And we had the one guy that just wanted to go for the bike ride.
Yep, he
walked
talked to Marty and I a long time.
I walked away and like, Steve, you're on your own, man, I'm out of here.
Thanks for leaving me hanging, but
But
no, it's, I would say, kind of the energy wheel, where is it? But we actually had more engaged discussions than we ever have
With
Yeah.
our customers.
with our customers about different things, so it was actually really neat.
That's very good.
And I think our insurance companies did us a favor of not having to take the truck out there and have the bucket rides and get that all set up and everything, and so we just, these guys embraced a different direction and ran with it, and I think it went very well. And they had, inside next to me, they had a tree service company that little
Yeah.
kids could get on and climb up to in a rigging and go all the way up to the ceiling of the gym, so,
Did you try that?
no.
Oh, I would have paid money.
What's that about?
Liz did, Liz Baker.
I
got
saw
on
her.
it, went up a ways.
Yep, she went up pretty high. So, thank you Sharon and Marty for helping out with that. Bring your child to work day, wanted to follow up. Thank you Tina for bringing this up, brought this forward to staff with shorter notice this year and with the APPA rodeo, and a lot of people are bringing their families and kids. We're gonna consider that this year's Bring Your Child to Work Day, being able to see them do many of the things they would do at work, and then going forward, Sharon, Julie, the office department, hopefully, and maybe in conjunction with the city, think of something that we can put together next year. So just wanted to give everybody an update. And then this week is Electric Service Workers Appreciation Week. I included the official proclamation that Governor Snyder signed. So next week, Wednesday, is Lineman Appreciation Day. We'll be having a dinner at New Union at 5:30 p.m. and everybody's invited. So please let Sharon know if you're attending for spacing and food purposes, or Marty.
I'll be there.
But this is the official, state proclamation, so pretty cool. I believe we've made a Facebook post about this, but just wanted you guys to all see the official proclamation.
Is there a way we can get this made up and big enough that we can take with us, because,
Oh,
these
anything's
guys
possible,
that
Marty.
probably would never see this, and just have it down there.
Do you want 8.5 by 11, or are you
Yeah.
thinking?
I want it to
Want me to
say-
frame it?
20 by 30,
Just,
These things,
Poster
this
size?
paper, but these prints aren't cheap.
no, this thing looks like it's probably, what is that, probably 12 by,
8.5 by 11.
is it? Yeah.
We can print out 11 by 17, I'm sure, legal or I don't know, something we can print. You guys here in the city have some available. And then the last thing I want that I didn't have in here is the official welcome packet is complete. Did everyone get a chance to see it? There was some paper in it. Again, but we have the
Oh.
we have paper to make it look fancy, like a present. We have some light bulbs, and we have our consolidated one-page worksheet that says who we are and different things about us. And we gave our first one away today, and we'll be giving them to all customers going forward as a welcome to Lowell.
That's very cool.
Isn't that
So-
cool? So you can, everyone.
So-
I only helped on the wordsmithing of that document. Everything else was the people in the office, so.
Did you make this?
No,
Okay.
I
Now,
love it.
on your information there, does it have your phone number?
Yes.
Does it have
Very-
your website?
Yes.
Does it have your hours?
Let me,
Yes.
let me,
Oh,
Look at
right.
it.
Let's see what it has. We have, welcome. It says Lowland Power, the power of Lowell working for you. Welcome, we are excited to serve you, our newest customer. We say who we are, key information, our phone number, office hours, when bills fall due. Key resources, our website, our Facebook page, our mobile app and customer portal, the payment methods, and then, did you know? And I did run this by our attorney for liability purposes, but the did you know section is Lowline Power has installed the latest and best technology that will alert our distribution staff if you are ever to lose power. Whether you're at work, on vacation, or simply at home, you can have the peace of mind without even making a call that we're already in the process of restoring your power. This is just one of many ways the power of Lowell is working for you.
I love it.
So,
Nice.
What are the hours for Friday?
yeah, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Oh, really? I mean, if
We don't want to
you change
reprint
for the
these,
summer-
our printing costs. Megan's a stickler about that.
You could always work front desk.
That's all I have, Greg.
That's
Okay.
very nice. That is very
Next,
nice.
regular low light power meeting will be May 10th. We'll probably, Mark will probably have some trophies and everything to show you.
Hoping.
Okay, from the rodeo. Board comment, Andrew.
I don't have any comments this time.
Dave,
Nothing at this time.
Marty,
Hope to see y'all, next Wednesday.
Jeff.
Just pass on to all the staff the appreciation we have for all the work that you folks do. You do a great job. Sometimes we have to make tough decisions about policies, but that doesn't mean we don't appreciate what you do. We very much do.
Tina.
Lowell Expo, I'm gonna tell you right now, that bike was amazing, and I don't know where you got it, do we own that, or?
No.
That's
I got it from
very
Caldwell.
cool.
No, but the guys took pictures of it, and they're gonna try to,
I'm gonna tell you right now,
Alright,
that
you
was,
guys
that
told
was
me you
the
could
best
make it.
thing.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, he did.
I looked at the back and I went, if they can do that, they can build a Frankenstein guy, 'cause
That was the best thing, so, and it really showed that, it was a fresh idea. And that's one thing that I had heard when I was standing at my, booth for the Fallsburg Historical Society, that, a lot of people were talking about how cool that was. It's a fresh idea, so very cool. I did not get on the bike because I did not wanna fall off it or get embarrassed.
Probably
And I
couldn't
wouldn't
have
even
reached the
lift one.
pedals.
I probably would have, but I wouldn't have had to stand up on it.
Maybe take a seat off my kids.
But other than that, again, like you had said, I do go to meetings that are, in Detroit and Lansing, and Lowell Light Power is always with me. And I actually slipped up and wore this to a meeting on the other side of the state a couple weeks ago, and they said, what's that about? And of course, I just bragged about how our little town has our own power, our own Lowell Light and Power, and they're just shocked at how cool of a town we have. So with the new information that you gave me, I'll be able to say, yeah, Consumers Energy, we're about 25% cheaper than Consumers Energy. Lowell Light and Power is doing great, so I'm really proud of you guys. This is an amazing entity here, so thanks for letting me be a part of it. Period.
looking forward to the rodeo. Looking forward to spending some time with the linemen. It's not only our linemen, but we see and get to know linemen from all over the United States and worldwide. Guam usually has a team there, so it's a great thing. I am going to say something that I'm probably not supposed to, but it was printed in the magazine that I dropped off here. So we will be receiving the RP3 award. There's 3 categories, the diamond being the top, platinum and gold, and we represent, we're in the diamond, and we